Hey guys, Vol here again. Alright, so this time we're talking about a mission that is a custom mission, and if you checked out my previous video, you'll be familiar with Tactical Window. It's a mission which is a custom mission, not an ITS mission. If you haven't checked out that video, go and look it up and download the PDF from my Google Drive folder. This mission, this particular game, sorry, is also going to be special because it's my first time using the Onyx Contact Force, which is a sectorial for Combined Army, and I've just recently bought the Unidrons and painted them up, so they're going to be featured in this game. And probably the next couple of games. So if you're a big fan of Onyx, check out that. I'll be posting a video soon also going over an analysis of the faction and actually talking about how to play them or how you could potentially play them. Let's just jump straight into this game. So my opponent has decided to go first. I've taken the table side that I prefer, and before anything else happens, he's trying to deploy this infiltrating model into my deployment zone, well, next to my deployment zone. It turns out to be a Delami, and he fails the infiltration roll, so he has to go back to where he was, but he has another one, so he's deploying that one up close to me as well, and this is where it actually is. I'm also taking a picture of my hidden deployment as well, so we've got a Noctifier way back here behind this blue crate, and a Malignos right here behind this objective. Because I'm the player going second, this is the one on my right hand side, and we'll look at the table in a moment. Okay, so my deployment here, let's just make the camera a bit smaller. So I've got Dr. Worm down the bottom. In fact, we'll just get out the marker. So Dr. Worm here, this is an Ichadron. We've got the Umbrus Samaritan here, and he's got a breaker combi rifle, so didn't have the special weapons for a Spitfire, although I normally prefer that. Over here we've got a Imetron which tried to deploy somewhere else on the table and scattered over here. The other Imetron didn't appear at all, and then the Link team, you'll see them more a little bit later. That's just a plasma carbine. We've got another plasma carbine here. This is the lieutenant right here. It's a Nexus hacker right there in group 2, not part of the Link team, just so I can use the lieutenant in order to put the enhancement onto the Unidrons and then switch her over later to be used in the Link. This card here is my classified objective. It's actually sabotage, so the Dr. Worm is planning on going this way down the alleyway to sabotage one of the buildings on his side of the table. Looking at it again so you can see in a bit more detail what's going on. There is a model here which is an impersonator. It's Al Jabal. I do want to point out that Haqqislam impersonators are restricted when they're playing against Tohar and Combined Army because they don't have impersonation level 2. They've only got impersonation level 1, which means they appear as an impersonation marker, but only the first state impersonation, not the second state, so they're easier to discover when you're playing Combined Army, which helps a little bit. Note that although the Ichadron is here, because the front of its base is actually here, it doesn't have line of sight to his model. You'll notice if you look very carefully at this point in the photograph, there's a little white marker. That's actually indicating the real position of the Ichadron. Because the Ichadron's got these arms just waving out like this, it's constantly always knocking into walls, so you can't put him flush into cover without the model actually getting in the way, so I like to put down a little marker to show where his base actually is. The other thing I want to say is that this Samaritan here is deployed flat on top of where my Noctifier is in hidden deployment. There was a big rules thread on the forums recently about what to do if you know, your model's discovered while it's underneath another model, but luckily that didn't come up this game. Having said that, there was a point where I kind of did want to reveal my Noctifier, but I don't think I would have been allowed to, given that there was another model already in place on the top of it, and that would have been my fault too, because I deliberately put it there. Alright, here's the Unidron link. So let's have a look at them. So this one here is actually an Ichadron, not part of the link. This one is just a normal plasma carbine. This guy here, sorry, that's the one. This one here is the Forward Observer. This is a normal plasma carbine. So is this guy here. We've got a plasma sniper model, which is actually representing the missile launcher. The reason why I take the missile launcher instead of plasma carbine is that he's 4 points cheaper, which is a big deal, and he comes with a light shotgun, which makes him easy to defend. Although having said that, his range band isn't as good as the plasma sniper, because the plasma sniper gets +3 as of 16 inches, not just 24 inches. Not pictured, there's another Unidron over here underneath where the photo's been taken that does have another missile launcher. So it's a team with 2 missile launchers, 2 plasmas, and 1 plasma forward observer. And the beauty of this is that the Nexus can be switched into group 1 and added to that group if one of them dies. Also the iMetron being moved over. So you can see what the Daylami is. That light shotgun hopefully will be useful against the Daylami. Alright, so the next photo over, you can see where the Link team was, and now you'll see that this is the missile launcher back here, because being right at the back of my deployment gives them better range with the missile launcher along alleyway there. We have another model here which is a Q-drone, and it's a plasma Q-drone, not the HMG. Dr. Worm has a helper bot between these two bots here, able to help me out, although chances are I'll probably get shotgunned, and of course we've got an R-drone flash pulse bot here, and there's Aljabel there, as you can see. Just looking at the table, this particular objective here is one that my opponent will have to try and go for, and the other one of his is over on this side. So we'll get to see better pictures about that in a moment. So here's his side of the table. We'll have a look at it now. So he's got, there's the Daylami, which unfortunately scattered, failed the infiltration roll. We've got I think this is just a Ghazi Motiwa or something like that. We've got another Ghazi here, another Ghazi here. No, so this model here is actually a Ghulam with a sniper rifle. The deployment zone is looking that way, so this is the right-hand corner of it. This objective is one that I'm going to be going for. He's got an HMG total reaction bot there. And I think that's it for the look at that particular side. Looking through the middle, there is, and remember now we're looking at the deployment zone facing that way, so there was his TR bot there. He's got a Janzaban HMG and a Janzaban marksman rifle as well, and another couple of Ghazis in behind there. I think he's got a model behind this spot as well, but it's a Nafatun, if I recall correctly. And then on the far left of his deployment zone, looking that way towards my deployment zone, you've got the Ghazi Motiwa, a Bareed killer hacker, and I'm glad he's finally started taking these because they are the best Bareed in my opinion. We've got another Nafatun back here, and we've got the Hulka forward observer with mechanized deployment to come up right next to the objective, and this is his HVT. So my opponent's going first. Just moving out with the impetuous orders from the Ghazis. This one's moving up on top of a building, so just moving up along there. Here comes Aljabel, so Aljabel is able to move just past the corner. The Samaritan declares a discover, so does the R-drone, and they both manage to discover him, but he throws a mine anyway, so not a mine, a smoke grenade anyway, so much of a muchness. So here's his plan, using this pheasant model here to represent the Aljabel. So he lobs his smoke grenade over to this point here, and you can see that the plan is just to keep the smoke grenade like this so that he can actually walk along up the stairs and get into close combat to annihilate the Ikadron and this member of the Link team. So that's what he's doing. So moves up the stairs. In the close combat, he actually manages to reduce this model to unconscious, and he doesn't have that many orders, mind you, and because it's unconscious, there's going to be no space for him to move up the stairs to actually hit this missile launcher, so this has protected him somewhat, which is really, really cool. Then comes down the stairs, does the same job to this Unidron here. Unidrons are dogged, but because he rolls 2 crits in this instance, he does actually do a full 3 wounds to me after failing a save there. So go Aljabel, doing really well here. Further up here, the Daylami moves up and actually attacks this Unidron here, which has lost the Link team bonus. Having said that, Ballistic Skill 11, +6 for short range, -3 for cover, takes him to 14s, and he ignores the surprise shot and its limited camouflage. So the Daylami, not great odds to kill the Unidron, but does manage to wound him anyway, so that's kind of annoying. Daylami doesn't have a lot of orders backing him up though, so he won't be able to continue into the Ikadron. Elsewhere, my opponent has a Ghulam sniper, which he quite likes. So here's the Ghulam sniper here, and what he's trying to do is target the Umbra Samaritan, which is down here. So just moves around the corner and tries to shoot him, managing to dodge against him. And this sniper's in group 2, so he only had mostly irregular orders in group 2, but he decides to spend a command token, turning one of the Ghazi's irregular orders into a regular order, so he can try again with a sniper rifle, rolls a crit, and actually kills my Umbra. which was really sad because I've spent a good 40 points on that model and I wanted to see some usage out of him this game. But first of all, my opponent, kudos for taking the sniper rifle, really good choice. My deployment wasn't so great. I saw some other opportunities, but I just thought they were also equally bad. And I didn't want to dodge anywhere else because that would take him out of cover, even though it would have allowed the Noctifier to shoot back, because the Noctifier is in the same spot. But the Noctifier can't really pick up any bonus kills with his template just yet. So yeah, just a bit unfortunate what happened this particular turn. Alright, so there's where the Umbra was, and he's been destroyed. So Aljabel trying to throw a speculative smoke grenade here so he can keep on moving out of the smoke to take out more members of the Unidron Link team. Fails the speculative fire though, not always that easy to get it off. So he's stranded there. So what he decides to do instead is to re-impersonate. So there's his position there, he's inside the smoke, and this is not a bad move because it requires me to discover him first. And if I don't do that, then I have to start committing troops, which may do quite poorly here. Alright, and finally, last order here, the Noctifier does reveal and fires a missile over at the Ghazi Motiwa over the side of the battlefield, but misses. So now the Noctifier is there, but by AOing with the Noctifier at the end of his turn does give me a chance to add the order to my pool after he's been revealed, and he does not have enough orders to move the Janzaban around to shoot me, so that's why I've decided to do that. Okay, you can also see here pretty long range, but the Ghazi is prone behind this little building. There is still a missile launcher up there, so you've still got the missile launcher from the Link team, but it can't see over this part of the bridge to where the Ghazi is trying to move, so it manages to go prone. Okay, now what happens here is that he decides to reveal a Tuareg in my turn. So one of my first orders is to activate the Link team, which involves a Unidron behind this building trying to discover Aljabel, who's here. But of course that activates the missile launcher, which is standing here. So the Tuareg is able to shoot at that missile launcher because he's part of the Link team, so almost tipped over a glass of water there. Luckily for me, the Tuareg misses with this shot. And in the meantime, the Unidron successfully discovers Aljabel and destroys him with the plasma template. Note that, again, because he can't get into impersonate level 2 and the Link team get a bonus from being a 4-man Link, it's not actually that hard to do it. The reason why they're a 4-man Link, by the way, is because at the start of my turn, I'm shifting my Nexus to Group 1 and adding the Nexus to the Link team and then spending the order. So that's quite important. So there you go. So now we get to see Aljabel is destroyed by the plasma carbine. We've still got a missile launcher hanging out here, but we've got a Tuareg to deal with. So because we've got no MSV2 on this list at all, that's actually kind of annoying. So what we decided to do is actually break the Link team again, use the Nexus to actually put enhanced fire onto the Q-drone. The Q-drone moves all the way around the table and actually shoots at the Tuareg, which is up here. And luckily for the Q-drone, it's short range and ignoring cover, so 14 goes down to 8 from TO Camo, whereas the sniper is like -6. So luckily the Q-drone does finish the job here and kills the sniper, but had I lost it to a bad shot there, then that would have been disastrous. Dr. Worm moving around now, and plan with Dr. Worm is to shoot at this Hulka Fort Observer who failed to capture the objective. So he only made one attempt with it with a willpower check and failed that one. So the Dr. Worm getting the job done with his combi rifle, and also able to move out with the helper bot to try and revive the Icadron, which Aljabel had destroyed, but failing that attempt, even with a reroll from the command command token. Now, this is where the Ghazi Motiwa has moved to in my opponent's turn. So the missile launcher from the Noctifier goes prone to stay behind cover against the Janzabans for later, then fires a missile, rolls a crit, and takes out this guy and this guy. So well done from the Noctifier, finally getting some work done. Over here, so a little bit of repositioning. So because there's still a Daylami still alive, what I have to do is move around with the Icadrons up the stairs, get to here, and then shoot at him along that angle. It's also allowed me to move the missile launcher through to a better position, and then in the next order I'll be able to swap that round after the plasma has worked. So the following order, that guy who'd taken out the Daylami here has moved back down the stairs. The other guy has moved back over here, and the missile launcher has moved up to this spot here, where he can actually provide AROs in this broad sort of area, especially along that line and along this line here, if you guys can see that. And of course we've got the Q drone which has got a 360 line of sight to help cover that side of the table, especially since my opponent needs to actually capture this particular objective. So let's grab the pen. So this objective, my opponent needs to go for that one. So by me having the Q drone and the missile launcher there, it'll prevent him from getting 2 extra points, which is quite important. You can see the positioning of Dr. Worm here. He's pulled back a bit. He's managed to get a couple of kills, but the Gazi Mutaiwa is going to have to climb down here and go towards him, which is good because Dr. Worm can shoot him as he's coming along here, but before that happens, he can also throw a smoke grenade to this point here to cover his progress. So that's exactly what happens. We move out with a Gazi Mutaiwa, throws a smoke, and the other one gets to climb down safely. So here it is, and then once it comes out of the cloud, the Dr. Worm is able to try and dodge, and does manage to beat the pistol. So managing to survive here, quite important. He's got no more orders to spend on the Gazi Mutaiwa unless he burns more command tokens. So because this is a Haq list which has 9 regular orders plus an irregular, and then 4 irregulars in group 2 plus 1 regular, he is a little bit starved with group 2. When I play vanilla Haqqislam, I like to have 10 regulars in group 1, or maybe 9 in 1, and then 4 Gazis in group 2, plus another 3 or 4 orders as well, just to spend on them if they wind up in good positions. And very usually, there are always points in the game where you want to spend regular orders on them anyway, so that's why I like to play it that way. Picture of my opponent's dog, so we'll skip that one. Okay, so we've got a Breed Killer Hacker now moving around here because the objective is around here, and the Hulker failed to capture the objective and has been shot by Dr. Worm, so the Breed moving around. Also, he's moving with a coordinator or some of his troops in the dumpster lid's open because there's actually a model in here. I actually said to him we should play that you can actually use a short skill to open the dumpster and close it and close yourself in there so you're completely out of line of sight. But anyway, he's just getting into better position to make the most of his smoke templates, which are about to go down. So Gazi Mutaiwa throwing the smoke template here. The plan there is to move the Janzaban down into the cloud and have a go at not only my missile launcher but also eventually get the Noctifier. He needs to get around to about this point though to kill the Noctifier, so what will be needed is for not just this smoke template but another smoke template to come down here for him to succeed in doing that. So you can see what's eventuated. He's moved his HMG down here, which fires at the missile launcher. I still have a 4-man link team though, so this becomes 12s against what do I need? 11s minus 3, 8s. So 12s for him and 8s for me. Fortunately for him though, he does kill the Unidron. But he was really taking a risk here, and that's the value of a 4-man link team, is ignoring the smoke template when you're shooting back through it. So quite significant. Then on the other side of the table, he's moving the Gazimoto over here because this is the one that was protecting the guy advancing on Dr. Worm. But as he does that, he throws this template at the start of his move over here. The plan for that is for his Janzaban with what do you call it, the marksman rifle, to move through to here to be able to shoot at the Q drone, which will not be able to ignore the penalty from the smoke. So he has managed to strip a wound off the missile launcher. What he does now on the other side of the table is moves forward with the bot to a better position, and then over here moves forward with the Janzaban H&G to get to a point where he eventually wants to be at this specific spot there, because the Noctifier is exactly in this point here, right there. So that's what he's trying to achieve. So in other news, the marksman now moves over here. The smoke's successful, and the marksman actually shoots at the Q drone. And let's see if we have a photo documenting this bit. So here's the Q drone just firing back at the marksman rifle. So the Q drone needing 2s to hit because it's long range and clouds, -9, and the marksman just needing 12s, ignoring mimetism and just not ignoring cover. So got lucky here and rolled a 2. So a critical hit, only maybe a 10 to 15% chance of that happening. Having said that though, I did get fairly unlucky elsewhere with my Unidrons not getting any hits when he attacked them, and the Samaritan being shot by a crit sniper rifle, although he may well have just been killed outright by it anyway. So luck coming back my way quite significantly here with the Q drone. The Janzaban, though, does manage to put a wound on the Noctifier, which is going to be enough to send him unconscious. Note that the Noctifier has the Shazvasti rule, so sometimes it could be better to stay unconscious than to go dogged, especially if it's at the end of your opponent's turn. And in this case, it was the end of his turn, so no point staying with dogged. Shazvasti, I believe, unless I'm reading the rule wrong, means that he doesn't count towards kills for the end of the game. So because this mission, you get one objective point for having more army kills than your opponent, that Shazvasti denies those points to the other guy. Alright, so my turn now. Because he's moved his HMG there and he hasn't managed to kill the Q drone, which is very unlucky of him, by the way. As we said, the Q drone just moves around a little bit, keeping cover and firing the plasma at the HMG. And I think what happens here is the HMG rolls a crit. So luck is going back and forward. I do remember actually losing the plasma Q at this point. So he goes unconscious, and HMG is still kicking, which is sad. It makes it really difficult to win. Malignos now pulling out. Malignos started behind this objective. He moves over here as a camo marker, and then moves over here again, because he's trying to avoid the chain rifle template, which can actually hit this point here, and also the jammer range, which is around about here. So once he's used his marker state to pull out of range, he's now able to shoot all of his bullets into this guy and luckily kill him. He's having to get around dogged and get around smoke templates, but I did manage to roll the dice well enough to kill him. So that's quite important. What happens now, because this guy's in group 1, is he's able to go prone and actually move to a better position up the stairs here, and also try and kill one of the other Ghazis, but this guy is eliminated at this point. So now he's able to move to where the car is, that's him there, and he's able to get some shots onto this Ghazi Motu here, but unfortunately the Ghazi rolls better than he does with the smoke, so unfortunately Dr. Worm is going to have to get out of there. The reason I've done this though is because it gives Dr. Worm a chance to escape and potentially press the button on my side of the console while keeping the Malignos in the right spot. One problem I'm having here is that I need to keep the zones under control as well. I need to control the sections, and I've lost a Q drone holding the one on my left. There was a turn earlier in the game, my first turn, where I'd picked up 2 sections and he'd only had 1, so I'd actually managed to get a lead here, but I need to hold on to that lead. So with the smoke template being on top of the Ghazi now, the Dr. Worm could actually move out of the way without being hit by the chain rifle. He'll still get jammered though unless he hits the reset. My opponent does put the smoke down on top of him, although he should have just put it between this guy and the Shazvasti guy, just so he can actually see the worm though. I think it's quite an important distinction. Moving on, our friend the Malignos, because this HMG has not been destroyed, is able to fire some shots here, and with the benefit of 16-inch range and TO camo, does manage to get the kill here, thankfully. If I'd not managed to kill this and I died to a crit, then that would have been just game over, because I'm currently down at this point. I'm currently losing. And then finally he's got just enough orders left to pull up the top of the stairs and go prone. And it's quite important to do that, because my opponent still has an MSV2 HMG right there. He's lost his marksman guy, but at this point I've also moved the Shazvasti trooper, the Malignos, into my my zone. So if you visualize it this way, the middle of the table is around about here, so where that dotted line is. So by moving here, he's actually picking up the section that the Q drone was previously holding on to, and will be able to help secure it for future turns. Dr. Worm, though, in group 2 with 4 orders left, is able to move his helpful snake. So this helpful snake is able to come over here and try and repair the Q drone, which is a pretty big deal. So moving around here, is able to successfully repair the Q drone and then pull up the stairs. So we'd attempted to revive the Echidron earlier, but now we've repaired the Q drone, so that should make life a lot easier against anything that might come down around the sides or on off the side of the table. Right, then my opponent can move out with the Ghazi Motiwa. the Dr. Worm, by the way, had survived the jamming template attempt, but had failed his attempt to press the button. So I still haven't actually captured a console yet. So that was quite unlucky. But I did get very unlucky with my. I did get very lucky, I should say, with my shooting earlier on a couple of occasions. So we've got another Ghazi coming towards here. It's able to throw out some smoke so that the HMG is going to be able to pick off this Q drone. So that's actually quite important. With the other side here, so you can sort of see if I keep moving my face. So that previous order, we put down a smoke template with this Ghazi Mortier here, and the other Ghazi Mortier we're moving around here, just try and get a bead on this this Dr. Worm. I decide to dodge, and he shoots at me with the pistol. The reason I didn't reset is it doesn't really matter if I get isolated here, because my points are still going to help me against the potential capture of this zone. And don't forget about the Maligno still kicking. He's also moved forward with his Barid and Kate taking this objective here. If I didn't comment on that earlier, I think I did comment on it. So now he's able to move forward with his Ghazi over here and attempt to jammer me, although I don't think that has an effect because he uses his second short skill to do that. And jammering this guy really won't help him at all, because it's just the points that I care about at that stage. So now he can move out with his HMG. I have to stress that this is actually very risky. The HMG is in the 0 range band against cover, so you'll need 9s to hit on 4 dice, but the Plasma Q will be +3 at short range, -6 with the clouds, so on 8s. So it's what, 9s on 4 dice versus 8s on 3 dice, and if you lose the face-to-face roll, it's plasma. So he's taking an extreme risk there, and what happens is he moves around and tries to get me down. And after 2 attempts at it, does manage to kill me, because I think I passed a save at some point. So he took a real risk there, but managed to pull through. And to be fair, I've had some lucky dice rolls with some of my shooting. My Plasma Q died to his HMG, but then I killed it with a Shazvasti. So this game has been very close, and I think one great thing about this mission is that it forces a lot of these encounters, which is really, really cool. The Ghazi Mortier were moving into close combat with the Dr. Worm, who has a knife. So if I dodge, then he pistols me. If I reset, well, he pistols me. If I close combat, he chain rifles me. So I decided to close combat him because I've got a knife, and very luckily here, I managed to knife him to death and pass the chain rifle save. So got very, very lucky with Dr. Worm here. So what he has to do now is move over with his HMG over this direction, but because Dr. Worm is prone, the car is in the way, and this is a silhouette too. It's very hard for him to draw line of sight from the Janzaban here to the Dr. Worm. So what he's got to do is really come all the way around to here to sort of see past the right angle of the car, which he does manage to do, mind you. So he keeps on moving on, gets a shot off at me where it's basically 14 for me to hit and 9s for him to hit, which is absurd. So again, taking some massive risks. I did manage to win the face-to-face roll, but he passes the armor save, then he keeps shooting at me and eventually kills me. So this turned out to be a really tense turn for Haqqislam, eventually getting the right line of sight. But he's still got a Hunzukut in his friendly zone, and he still has some peripheral guys around the side there. Thing is, he's ahead on console, so if I don't manage to pick up at least one console, it's definitely going to be a loss. Now this is the last turn of the game, so I can't get any more sections to be scored. What I decided to do, just to make it easier, because I had 2 orders left in Group 2, is to move this R drone here onto the building to fire at the Janzaban and potentially flash pulse him, because if that works, then I don't actually have to spend any orders killing him with a Malignos. But unfortunately, HMG picks me off and I die, losing 8 points. Next up, thought about killing his Ghazi, because the Ghazi was in range to jammer my Malignos as soon as it moves out. So what I do here is I move out with the Unidron, still in a 3-man link, so we've still got the Lieutenant, we've still got the other Carbine, we've still got this guy, and the Ghazi is on this specific location here. I'll get the camera out of the way. So the Unidron is actually firing through at this Ghazi there, encircled there, and does manage to kill him because he doesn't get cover, and it's a burst 3 plasma Carbine with a link. This now allows for some high stakes action where it's Malignos firing directly at the HMG Janzavan, who does ignore Tio Camo. Fortunately for me, though, I'm hitting on 15s, with the Malignos being BS12, whereas with his HMG, he's at 0 range band hitting on 9. So the first volley wins the face-to-face roll, but he passes his armor save again. The second volley does kill him, but again, it's just really tense Infinity stuff, and that's what we love in Infinity. We want, the close encounters where dice rolls are fairly even and action is very cinematic. So now the Malignos can move out. He's managed to kill the Janzaban here, moves out down the stairs past the car. He's only got 2 attempts at the console. If he fails them both, then I've lost the game. But he does manage to not only pick up the roll with the second attempt, so we've ticked this off. He moves over here and then moves out to here, and the Haqqislam high value target is behind these crates. So at the end of the game, I pick up an extra point for objective on the HVT, the classified, effectively. So that gives me another point. So what's the outcome? There was one stage of the game where we're capturing, there are 4 section turns. The first time the scoring mattered, I managed to pick it up, and the second time it didn't matter, and then the third time he managed to get ahead, and then the fourth time it was even. So on capturing sections, neither of us managed to get any advantages there. Let's go back to tactical window. With the consoles, we both got 1 each by the end of it, so that's 2 each there. Classified objective, I've picked up an extra 1 for that, so it mattered as to whether it was army points, as to whether it was a draw, or whether it was a win for me, and after we counted everything up, I was actually well ahead. I thought that I'd be way down, given I lost a Q drone and the Samaritan and the Noctifier, but the Noctifier is Shaz Fasti, and even had we not counted the Noctifier, because I'd killed so many, Janzabans and Turigs and stuff on his side, and I had a couple of expensive models like the Nexus and the Malignos, I was actually okay. A lot of combined army stuff actually costs a bit more than you'd think. So it turned out to be a win by a margin of 2 objective points. But really enjoyed the mission. I thought it was a really exciting mission, and it could have been even more interesting than it was. As for Onyx, didn't really get much of a chance to see the best of the Link teams or the Samaritan or anything cool like that. I noticed that Noctifiers are available too, but we're going to be playtesting some more lists soon, and as we play some more games, we'll get to see more of what really works with Onyx. I think one mistake that I made in this game was to not take first turn. I didn't realize that he could actually impersonate El Jabal, even though I was playing Combined Army. I thought you just couldn't use impersonation, whereas the actual state of affairs is you can actually use it with a lower level impersonation, so that was pretty cool. Had I known that, I would have taken first turn, because this is a mission that you can win by going first, and first turn would have allowed me to set up the Link team more effectively and do a bit of an alpha strike with the Samaritan and get some kills. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. I had a blast. I'm going to play some more Tactical Window and some more Onyx Contact Force very soon.